So we already have this mobile service object that we mentioned is going to allow us to connect to the mobile app service that we created on our Azure portal. Now we're going to add functionality to the application so users can register and then log in with the data with the user information now stored in the cloud. For that, in this lecture, we're going to be creating another page. And we're also going to need to change the main page a little bit, which right now is our login page. So we have a button that actually navigates the user to that new register page. So let's start by right-clicking on the portable class library and adding a new item. We're going to create a new content page, which is going to be called register page. Remember to select the content page that is going to create a SAML file and not just a C# file, and click on add. This new page is going to be very similar to the main page. So we can actually copy the entire stack layout that we have in the main page and paste it in the register page instead of the stack layout, in fact, instead of the entire content that we have defined. Of course, we need to make some changes. First, we're not going to really be needing an image in here. All we need is 3 entries and a button. So we have to add the third entry. The third entry is going to let the user confirm their passwords. So if the password in both entries match, then and only then are we going to insert the user into the database. In this case, already the database that is in the cloud. So the margin is okay, the vertical option is okay, and the first entry and the second entry are okay. But we do need a third entry that is going to be very similar to the second one, because it's also going to be a password entry, going to have the same text color, but we are going to change the other 2 properties, starting with the name. This is going to be confirm password entry. And of course, the placeholder is also going to be different. This is going to be confirm password. Also, the button is not going to say login, it's going to say register. And we do need to create the clicked event handler because this hasn't been created. There is something assigned, but we haven't created it. So in fact, before creating it, we have to change the name for the button, which is going to be register button. And now we can access the clicked event and with help of Visual Studio, create a new event handler, which is going to be called register button _ clicked. And we can navigate to the register page.saml.cs and you will see that we do now have this new event handler created. Now, in addition to the register page, we have to add something else to the main page, and that is a button that will navigate the user to the register page. So, right below the button that we already have, I am going to add another button. And this button is going to have a name of register user button. The text is going to be register, and I want to make its horizontal options to be nth, which will make the button go all the way to the right. And of course, I am going to need a clicked event handler. And from that event handler, I want to navigate to the register page. So in the main page.saml.cs, in the new event handler, I will have to add a call to the method that is inside of the navigation property that is called push async and push to a new register page. And so the interface is pretty much ready. Now, what I do want to add before moving forward is the evaluation of whether or not the user is going to be registered. And that evaluation is simply if both the password entry and the confirm password entry have the same text. So, inside of the event handler for the clicked of the register button inside of the register page, I am going to add an evaluation if a password entry.text is equal to confirm password entry.text. If this is true, then we can register. If it is not, maybe we can display an alert to the user. So we can call the display alert method with a title of error and a message of passwords don't match. And we also need a cancel button, which is simply going to be okay. One more thing before testing, we do need to initialize some things about the Azure mobile service from each platform, just like we are currently doing with Xamarin Forms itself and the maps. So inside of the finish launching method for the app delegate, in this case for the iOS project, we have to access the current platform class. To be able to use it, we're going to need a using directive to Microsoft.Windows Azure.Mobile Services, and this has an init method. We're going to have to call it. And we also have to call it from the Android project. We have to navigate to the main activity, and right below the calls to the init methods for forms and for forms maps, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to access the current platform, add the corresponding using directive, and call the init method. This will initialize the necessary things inside of each individual project for Azure services to work. So we can now run the simulator. With the app up and running, we can test the navigation by clicking on the register button, and we get navigated to the new register page. We can write something on all of the entries. And the first test that I want to perform is writing different things inside of the entries for the passwords. I'm going to click on register, and I do see that the evaluation is being correctly performed. It says that the passwords don't match. And now let me test this with a password that is the same. It is simply going to be ASD on both entries, and nothing should happen because we do not have any code inside of the if block. And so I click, and nothing happens, which is exactly what I wanted. It means that this block is the one being executed, so it is in this block where we want to register the user. And that is what we're going to be doing in the next lecture. We're going to be creating a new user. For that, we're going to need a new class and to create a new table from the Azure portal. And we're going to be starting to insert elements into our cloud database.